Let's talk about Clément Lenglet, who just returned from a loan spell with Atletico Madrid. Now he's officially back with FC Barcelona. But this puts Barcelona in a tough spot. They need to figure out what to do with him. Lenglet wants to stay at Atletico Madrid, and Atletico also want to keep him. But the problem is that Barcelona still owns his contract, and he's still taking up space on their wage bill. Right now Barcelona is trying to end Lenglet's contract early. His current deal runs until June 2027. The issue is money. Atletico says they can't afford his salary but still want to keep him. So what's the only way this could work? Atletico wants a free transfer, which means Barcelona would have to completely cancel his contract. This info comes from journalist Gabriel Sanz. Now let's zoom out a bit and talk about what it means for any club to cancel a player's contract. It's not as easy as just saying you're fired. What is a contract termination? When a club like Barcelona wants to cut a player before his contract ends, it's called a contract termination. But this isn't simple. It comes with rules, money issues, and sometimes even punishments. There are two main ways to do it. 1. Termination without a good reason. If the club ends the deal for no valid reason, what FIFA calls no just cause, they still have to pay the rest of the player's contract. That can be millions of euros paid all at once. And it could lead to punishments like not being allowed to sign new players for a while. 2. Termination with a good reason. If a player misbehaves, like skipping training or breaking rules, the club might not have to pay. They can end the deal more safely. But that's not the case here. Lenglet has been professional the whole time. He's respected both Barcelona and Atletico. So this would be considered a termination without just cause. What about FIFA's protection rule? FIFA protects players during the early part of their career. First 3 years of your first pro contract or first 2 years of your second contract with the same club. This makes it harder for clubs to cancel contracts during that time. But Lenglet is no longer in that protected period. That means Barcelona can end the contract without FIFA interfering, but they still might have to pay him. So what's Barcelona's real problem? Barcelona is spending too much on salaries. Under La Liga's financial fair play rules, they have to cut down to sign or register new players. They're looking to end contracts with players they no longer need, and Lenglet is on that list. He earns a big salary but isn't playing, and coach Hansi Flick doesn't include him in his plans. Money breakdown. Lenglet makes 6 million euros per year. While on loan at Atletico, this is how it was split. Atletico paid 4 million euros. Barcelona paid 2 million euros. Both clubs now agree, Euro 6 million is too much for a player like Lenglet. It's a reasonable salary for stars like Van Dijk, Íñigo Martínez or Rudiger. But not for Lenglet, who hasn't made a big impact lately. The big problem. If Barcelona ends the contract and Lenglet doesn't agree, they'll have to pay him the full value for the final 2 years, 12 million euro total. That's a huge hit for a club already tight on cash. So the best case is this. Barcelona and Lenglet mutually agree to end the contract. That means no legal battles, no full payout, and no drama. Lenglet could go to Atletico as a free agent, and Atletico could then offer him a lower salary, maybe 2 million euros to 2.5 million euros a year. That's what Atletico wants. They don't want another loan where they pay 4 million euros again. Now it's all up to Lenglet. If he agrees to end the contract and take a lower salary, then everything falls into place. Final thoughts. Ending a football contract isn't like returning a toy after using it for years. You can't just walk away and expect a full refund. Barcelona has to be smart, follow all the rules and not lose money. And hopefully, Lenglet helps them by agreeing to a mutual deal and joining Atletico. Now let's talk about another update, Joan Garcia. Joan Garcia signs for Barcelona. It's official, Joan Garcia is now a Barcelona player. He's coming from Espanyol and has signed a 5-year deal, lasting until June 2030. This matches the contracts of players like Pedri, Gavi, Lamine Yamal, and Rafinha. According to Fabrizio Romano, Barcelona will pay Espanyol's release clause for him, likely around June 10th to 12th. They wanted to wait until after the Nations League finals to make it official. Key people behind the move. The biggest influence? Hansi Flick. Garcia was unsure whether to go to the Premier League. Teams like Arsenal, Newcastle, and Manchester United were interested. But then Hansi Flick called and told him, "If you want trophies and a clear role, come to Barcelona." He promised Garcia he'd be the first-choice goalkeeper, especially since he already has La Liga experience. They even had a one-on-one conversation. Then Deco stepped in and said, "We want you here." The plan is clear. President Joan Laporta is also very happy with the signing. He thinks Garcia can help the club do better in both La Liga and European competitions. What about Ter Stegen? There's still a question mark around Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. Journalist Sandy Ovalle says Barcelona will soon have an important talk with him to decide his role and future. Why haven't they talked yet? Because Ter Stegen is playing in the Nations League for Germany. Barcelona wants to wait until the tournament is over. If Germany makes the final, the meeting may happen between June 12th and June 14th. Lewandowski speaks out. Robert Lewandowski shared his thoughts on Joan Garcia. He said he's a great keeper, but warned him that playing for Barcelona is different from playing for Espanyol. At Espanyol you might have 10 chances to save. At Barcelona you only get 1 or 2, and you have to stop them. Nice to see experienced players giving advice. Final keeper update. Iñaki Peña, aka Chenny, has signed a new 2-year extension with Barcelona. He'll stay for the next season and likely be the backup to Joan Garcia. Fun fact, Peña and Garcia are best friends, so the chemistry in the goalkeeper position should be great. Peña can also guide Garcia through the pressure of playing at a big club. This entire situation isn't just about a player on loan or a club trying to get rid of a contract. It's about the reality of modern football and the tough financial choices that even the biggest clubs like FC Barcelona have to make. Clément Lenglet is not a bad player. He's been professional, respectful, and has done what the club asked of him. But the problem isn't behavior, it's value. He's simply not part of Barcelona's future plans under Hansi Flick, and with the club struggling to stay within La Liga's financial fair play rules, they have no room to carry extra weight. Lenglet's €6 million salary isn't just a number on paper. It's a barrier stopping the club from registering young talent, signing new players, and building toward long-term success. And yet, canceling his contract is not as easy as saying goodbye. If Barcelona terminates his deal without a mutual agreement, they'll be forced to pay him up to €12 million upfront, wrecking their financial structure for the summer. That's why the idea of a mutual termination is the most practical, humane, and strategic solution for everyone. But it all depends on whether Lenglet is willing to walk away without asking for every cent he's owed. And this is where football becomes less about the game and more about decisions, timing, and trust. At the same time, Atletico Madrid is watching from the sidelines, hoping to get Lenglet for free, not because they want to disrespect his value, but because they simply cannot afford him otherwise. They've made it clear, they want him but only on a reduced wage. And all of this, the finances, the wages, the future signings, are connected. Joan Garcia is coming in as the club's new goalkeeper. Marc-Andre Ter Stegen's future is in limbo. Veterans like Lewandowski are giving advice to the new arrivals. And club leaders like Hansi Flick, Deco, and Joan Laporta are trying to reshape Barcelona from the inside out. Every decision now affects the entire ecosystem. If this contract situation with Lenglet ends badly, if there's a legal fight, a forced payment, or drama in the media, it could slow down everything the club is working toward. But if handled smartly, this moment could be a symbol of how far Barcelona has come. From reckless spending and emotional decisions to calculated moves and mutual respect. In football, you can't just press reset. You fix the mess by facing it, piece by piece, player by player. And right now, that piece is Clément Lenglet. What happens next will say a lot about Barcelona, not just as a team but as a club learning to move forward.